welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy you're here. So as you already probably know from the title of this video, today I'm going to be ranking all of my crochet and knitting tools. To give you guys some context, I learned how to crochet when I was in 2nd grade. I think I made like one scarf, and then I didn't touch another crochet hook for like 15 years. I started getting into it again about 3 years ago when I saw a picture of a crochet bikini. Like, there are women in my family that know how to crochet. Shout out to my mom. And I had seen them crochet blankets and hats and stuff like that. But seeing that bikini really made me realize you can crochet anything. Also, no hate to you crocheters that love to make blankets and hats and scarves. I love you too. But I just want to make crop tops. So yeah, like I said, about 3 years ago is when I started to crochet again. It's also when I started my Lucky777 Loops Instagram account. Then about a year ago, I started to shift my focus onto knitting. There's just something about knitting that really scratches that itch in my brain, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure I could fall asleep to the sound of needles clocking together at this point. That's been my journey with Fiberarts so far. And in these past 3 years, I've amassed quite the collection of tools and supplies. I actually saw something really funny in my local yarn store the other day. They had this framed newspaper article talking about the store, and the journalist described knitting as an inexpensive hobby. Like, are you sure? My total at checkout that day was $58. I bought 3 hanks of yarn, and one of them was on sale. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I've spent a lot of money on tools and supplies, and I think it's time that I critique them a little bit. Just in case you've never seen a tier list video before, I'm going to be putting all of my crochet and knitting tools onto a tier list, ranking from S, which is the highest, to D. And there are definitely some supplies that I'm going to be putting in D tier today. I'm going to start with my crochet hook collection, and first up is the first ever crochet hook that I ever used. It's just your basic metal crochet hook from Michaels. Definitely not the most comfortable to use, especially for a bigger project, but it gets the job done. I think typically I would put this in B tier, but for the nostalgia, I'm going to put it in A tier. Next is my Clover ergonomic hook. This is my baby. I use her for everything. Like, if I were stranded on an island and I could only bring 10 things, this would be one of those things. It's really comfortable to hold, even if you're having a really long crochet session. Also, I feel like I can crochet really smoothly with all different kinds of yarns, which is not the case for some of the other hooks that I'm going to show you. Immediate S tier, if you're a crocheter and you don't already have one of these hooks, you need to get one. Next is a hook that my fiance actually bought for me, and I feel really bad because I don't use it that much. It's from the brand Furls Fiberarts. It's absolutely beautiful. This is by far the nicest hook that I have. It's made out of wood, it's pretty comfortable to hold, but for some reason I have the hardest time crocheting with this. I don't know if it's because the tip is too pointy or what, but whenever I work with plied yarn, which is pretty much all the time, I always end up splitting the yarn. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but this hook just gets caught on everything. And like I said, I have a really hard time crocheting with this. So sorry, Chris, this is going in C tier. I also have these plastic hooks from Susan Bates. At the time, I was working with a lot of bulky yarns, so I needed some bigger hooks. I basically just bought these because I thought they were pretty, but they are a nightmare to work with. Honestly, every time I use these, I feel like I'm getting an arm workout. It really doesn't matter what fiber I'm working with. These hooks just do not make for a smooth crochet experience. And I'm going to put them in D tier. Next is my old reliable jumbo plastic hook. I really don't have that much to say about this one because I rarely use it. But when I do use it, it works just fine. I think I'm going to put it in B tier. This hook is the newest in my collection. It's from the Prym ergonomic line. I bought this because I was at the store, I had a coupon, and I was curious. As far as ergonomic hooks go, it's pretty comfortable to use, but it's nowhere near as smooth as the Clover ergonomic hooks. So I think I'm going to have to throw this into B tier. Okay, moving right along, we are now going to get into my needle collection. First up are these Prym ergonomic straight needles. These were the first needles that I ever bought because I had done some research and saw that these were supposedly good for beginners. They have this little teardrop shaped tip at the end, which helps to pick up stitches and keep stitches from falling off of your needles. The design definitely helped me out when I was just getting started, but once I was ready to start knitting faster, I switched to your standard pointed tip needles. I think I'm going to put these in C tier. I also have the Prym Ergonomics circulars, which I'm going to be ranking separately purely because of the cable. Where the cable meets the end of the needle is not seamless, which makes knitting with these needles extremely slow and frustrating because every 5 seconds your stitches are catching on this little seam here. It's just a nightmare. I hate it. D tier. Next up are my Clover bamboo straight needles. These are so much easier to use compared to my Prym needles. I also love the sound of the bamboo while I'm knitting. These are my top pick for straight needles, although I will say that I prefer to use circulars. To be honest, I find knitting with straight needles a little bit cumbersome, but that's just my preference. That's nothing against these needles specifically, so I'm going to put these into A tier. I think it's about time that I show you my knitting holy grail. This interchangeable set was an absolute game changer. Before getting this, I was spending so much time and money going out and getting different size circular needles. And now thanks to this, I can just mix and match whatever cable and needle size I need. It comes with needle sizes from 3.25 millimeters all the way to 10 millimeters. It also comes with 5 different circular cable lengths. There's a 16-inch, a 24-inch, a 29-inch, a 36-inch, and a 48-inch. You can also buy extra cables and needles separately. I myself have like 3 16-inch cables because that's my most used size. I just prefer circular needles so much more than straight needles. Firstly, I feel like circulars are a lot more portable than straight needles. Also with circulars, you get the best of both worlds because you can knit panels and you can knit in the round. These are definitely my favorite tools to work with, so I'm going to have to put them in S tier. I also have a couple sets of circulars from the Knitter's Pride Dreamz line. They're really nice wood needles, very easy to work with. I'm just not able to get in as deep of a knitting flow with these needles compared to the Clover ones. Once again, it's just a preference. These are wonderful needles. I'm going to put them in A tier. Next, we have these jumbo plastic circulars from Michaels. I use these for a very specific project and then just kind of never use them again. To be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with jumbo needles because I typically don't work with bulky yarn. But my guess is that you can probably find a lot smoother, more comfortable needles than these. It's possible to knit with them. I'm just going to put them in C tier. These are my double-pointed needles. I pretty much only use them for knitting I-cords. They are metal, which I'm not a huge fan of. I just don't like a super loud clanking noise while I'm knitting. But I do have to say that no matter what fiber I'm working with, the yarn does slide really easily over the needles, which makes the process a lot faster. They definitely do what I need them to do, so I think I'm going to put them in B tier. The last set of circulars that I have are these 9-inch 5mm needles from Clover. Yes, I put them back in the packaging because that's where they belong. Forget everything that I said before about the Clover circular needles. These are the worst needles ever. I bought these because I didn't want to learn how to do magic loop and I wanted to knit sleeves in the round really easily. It was a mistake. These are impossible to knit with. I have to show you close up how truly tiny the needles are. Like, what are you supposed to hold on to? I really did try to give these a chance. I wanted them to work so badly. But after about 5 minutes of knitting, my fingers were cramping. So yeah, don't buy these. Just learn how to do magic loop. It'll be okay. I'm putting these in D tier. I want to go through just a few more accessories and supplies with you, starting with my row counter. I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but this is an essential whether you're a knitter or a crocheter. I'm always watching a show or listening to a podcast while I'm knitting, which pretty much makes keeping mental track of my rows impossible. Also, I feel like I'm low-key Pavlov's dogging myself because I always want to knit just one more row so I can hear the sound. Thanks to this, when I finish a panel, I don't have to go back and count all my stitches again because I lost track halfway through. It is only capable of counting up to 99 rows, so if you're knitting something really long, keep a pen and paper with you just in case. This is a personal staple of mine. I'm gonna put this in S tier. Also a gift for my fiance, I have this lovely little yarn bowl. I'm a center pull girly, so I like to wind all of my hanks and skeins into cakes before I use them. But this still makes pulling the yarn a lot easier. Plus, for some reason, using this just makes me feel fancy. I love my fiance and I love this gift, so I think I'm gonna put this in S tier. Next, I have the cable needles from Clover. Now, I'm not very experienced with knitting cables, so these are the only cable needles that I've ever tried. They work fine, I guess, but I'm definitely open to trying other options. I think I'm gonna put these in B tier. I also have this French knitter tool. I bought this because a lot of my designs have I-cord embellishments, and I thought that this would make the process faster. Surprising nobody, it definitely did not make it faster. I struggled a lot with learning how to use this tool, and I hate to say it, but I did kind of give up. I'm already pretty quick with knitting up an I-cord using double pointed needles, so this just kind of felt like a waste. I'm sure there are people out there that love this tool, but for me, it's going to be a C tier. Last, but certainly not least, I have the Prym Yarn-It yarn holder. A very dear friend gave this to me as a gift, and I absolutely love it. It looks like a crystal ball, you can carry it around with you. It does come with a strap, but I tied a ribbon onto it just because. It opens up like this in the front, and then you just put your yarn in, pull the tail through one of these openings, close the lid, and look at that. Beautiful. It also has this rubber part on the bottom, which adds a lot of grip if you're just setting it down on a table. But you can also take it off and then store like little scissors or needles inside. I like to knit when I go to the beach, and having this protects my yarn from getting super sandy. Also, you can just carry it like a purse and walk while you knit, which I definitely haven't mastered yet, but we're getting there. I'm definitely gonna have to put this into S tier. So here's a look at the final tier list. I know it probably seems like I have a little bit of a brand bias. I promise I'm not sponsored by Clover, although I wish I was. But that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching. I had a lot of fun digging up some of my old supplies that I haven't used in a while. And of course, I'm always happy to share my favorites with you. Let me know in the comments if you have any tools that you would like me to try, or if you have any S tier tools that you feel like I absolutely need. Please subscribe if you're interested in seeing more yarn-related content. I post new videos every Friday. Hi!
Hi.
I talked about the gifts that you gave me.
What gifts did I give you?
This one.
Oh, nice.
And this one.
Nice.
But you have to watch to find out where they are in the tier list. Are we gonna watch Shogun?
Yeah. What do you gotta do? You gotta film the outro and then you have to like do anything with it? Or?
No, I'm not editing today. I'm just filming. Okay. Love you! That was a nice surprise. Please consider liking and sharing the video if you enjoyed watching. It really does help me out a lot. I know I'm so far away from it, but I do have dreams of being sponsored one day. I can't wait to see you next Friday, and I love you. Bye!